It took me so long to push record, bro. Like so long. I mean, I don't even. I can't tell you the the amount of back and forth I go with myself. And the most frustrating thing is you just never know if it's you or something that you can't control. Like, you don't know if it's you or if it's something going on with your mental health, and if you can, experience a low right now. Like, are you experiencing a low? Are you experiencing, just something you can't seem to get out of at the current moment? It may be, but for the most part, I think it's just me. For the most part, I think it's just me, man. I think it's just something that I'm just battling with on a daily basis. And yeah, again, I feel like I have highs, I feel like I have lows. And there are times where I'm like, okay, I definitely understand, and I know that this is a low and this is something that I just have to work through and get out of and be okay on the other side. But there are times where I'm like, this might be a low, but really it's just I'm really battling, or the episode that I'm thinking about recording isn't really crystal clear, so I'm trying to give myself time, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to just be cool, be chill, you know what I mean, and figure it out. But but that's just, I guess, I don't know if that goes hand in hand with creating content. If being neurodivergent and creating content are a matrimony in heaven. Did I say that correctly? Match made in heaven, right? Okay. Match made in heaven. Like, it's just, I think a lot of times it's just sometimes you got to pull it together. And for me, everything that I'm talking about for me, even right now, I'm like, where am I actually going with this? But I found it. Sometimes you just got to pull it together, and sometimes you really have to give yourself credit where credit's due. Like, I know that I've had this episode etched out in the skeleton written for weeks now, and when it was time to record, it was just that daunting feeling and just that battle that, I don't know if everybody else goes through this, but if you do, let me know in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. But anyways, that daunting feeling, like, are you really gonna deliver? Like, is this really something that you really want to touch on? Is this something that you really want to stretch out and be vulnerable about? Neurodivergence is not something that you just throw around. And I'm grateful that we have the word. I'm grateful that we have the term. I'm grateful that there's a community out there that connect with one another about neurodivergence, and even spreading across a wider spectrum of work. But it's a tough spot to be in, because again, you just don't know. Again, like, me being me, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to record this episode and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be amazing. And then I get to the day that I'm going to record it, and it's like, I go through this whole rigmarole, and I'm like, what? Oh, where's this going? Am I going to be able to record this? Where is this going? Am I going to be able to, shake this? Is this perfection? What do you call it? Perfectionism? Is this the perfectionist that is speaking right now? That I have to be perfect, and I have to make sure that I nail all the points. I have to make sure that I have everything etched out before I even press record. And even when I press record, I'm going to be nervous about hitting the points and making sure that I sound educated and being able to express myself and intellectual, so that people can engage in dialogue with me, and I just don't sound a mess, or I don't sound all over the place, or I don't make conclusions to the beginning statements of my sentences. Am I going to go through all of that in front of a camera, in front of a podcast audience, and still be okay? Or is this something that I need to take seriously and really collect myself and breathe and do techniques to make sure that I don't go even deeper or in a deeper hole? You know what I mean? Like that's my fight. I don't know about you. I don't know if you even have fights or if you even go through these same things. But for me, I'm just always in my head. I'm always wondering or trying to figure it out. And you could say, you might have a control issue. And that may be true. That may be true. I may, but I'm not here to diagnose me. I'm not here to pinpoint exactly, the negative or what's wrong with me. But I want to make sure that I display the positive side of who I am. And it's a reminder for me, not for anybody else. You know what I mean? It's a reminder for me. Even going through all of this and realizing that all this is brand new allows me to give myself grace and gives myself forgiveness, or whatever word you want to put in there to take it easy on myself. But I think I've been around people that were neurodivergent and didn't even know it, or don't know it to this day. You got the aunts and uncles that are like, that's just who they are, or, they got their thing, and you shouldn't be touching your grandfather's remote. That's his thing. You shouldn't be sitting in his chair. That's his thing. You shouldn't. It takes him a long time to get to the point. It takes him a long time to make the thing the thing. It's, you got to go around and you got to sit there for a couple minutes for him to collect his thoughts. He doesn't talk. You gotta give him some space. That all that seems to me a form of neurodivergence. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose anybody. I'm just telling you my perspective, and my perspective is, I think a lot of people live with neurodivergence or a form of it some way or another, and they just don't have the words to say, or they don't know. It's just been them for so long that they just are able to continue on with life and not even think about it, or not even think something's wrong, or not to get techniques to help them communicate or help them survive in a daily world that's ever evolving. And sometimes it feels like the world is leaving you behind when you're, at least again, from my perspective. There's sometimes I hear conversation and I'm in my mind, I'm like, I'm so lost. But yet the conversation seems so simple. I think that's the reason why I have such a hard time with sarcasm, because it doesn't make sense to me. Now, I know a lot of people are like, I love sarcasm, and it's wonderful. I'm just giving you shine, you know what I mean? I'm just whatever. But for me, it just doesn't make sense. Literally, like in my mind, when I hear sarcasm, I don't hear the intention. I hear exactly what is said. So somebody's like, oh, I just love running a 12K. And I'm like, oh, you love running a 12K? How is it? Like, I've never ran a 12K. Can you tell me what your experiences are so that, I can figure it out and see if I want to do it? And they're like, I was being sarcastic. And I'm like, oh. But then in return, that makes me feel like I'm dumb. That makes me feel like, I'm lacking. But yet I could be like, yo, you just need to learn how to communicate. Like, that's just how, but I've come to understand that in my experience, 85, 95% of people that I'm in conversation with, or I find myself in conversation with, speak with sarcasm. And I wonder, where did that come from? Where did we sign the universal agreement that sarcasm was a universal language like love? I don't know if anybody is keeping count. I am. But they say, love is the universal language. I think sarcasm is a close second, for real. That's just my point, or not my point, but that's just my view. I think sarcasm is a language that everybody is like, I like it. I'm gonna speak it, and we're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be we're gonna be able to survive on this, and we're gonna incorporate it in every single form of communication possible. Like, I want to know what sarcasm sounds like in different languages. Or do they have sarcasm in different languages? Like, if I were going somewhere across the seas or across the world and spoke in sarcastic tone, would they find offense to it, or would they understand the way of life or my dialect? And maybe I just need to travel the world to figure that out. But I wonder about that. Is my perception, is my view only shaped because I live in the United States of America? Or would I take this same disposition and put me in Australia, put me in London, put me in Italy, put me in Venezuela, and I do the same thing, I speak the same way? Would it translate in that language? And would I be accepted? I don't know. Has anybody, tell me in the comments, has anybody tried to speak sarcastically in other countries and been accepted, or been shunned, or offended someone? I really want to know, because again, for me, there are times where I feel like I'm just lost. I feel like, this was, and then also, I'm like, okay, like you killed the mood. Like, you kind of stabbed my balloon. You kind of slashed my kite. You kind of just took the air out of the sails. Like, the conversation's not really going to be as fruitful as I want it to be. It's not going to be a beautiful sunrise as I thought it was going to be, because now I know that I got to watch out and really pay attention to your sarcastic tone, because then if I don't, we're going to, have to stop the conversation for you to tell me that you're playing and giving me shit, and it's going to be a boulevard drive. You know what I mean? A boulevard drive is when you're on a 2 to 4 lane road and you got stoplights. It's not a highway. You know what I mean? You don't just get straight to the point. You don't, cut the exits. You don't get off or get over 3 lanes and be going 75, 85, 95 miles and just be listening to your music blasting and have a good conversation with your music low, or just getting to the point, moving from step to step to step to step to step in conversation. A highway. It's more of a boulevard stroll. More of a boulevard, A to B, B1, we had to stop. I made a joke, it didn't go over well. I have to explain to you that I was being sarcastic. B to C, C2, gotta stop again. I forgot. You don't really talk in a sarcastic tone, so I have to tell you again, that was sarcasm, and we gotta get back. And we might not even get back, because we might go off on a tangent about something else, and that just might be it. A boulevard stroll. And I don't necessarily enjoy that. I want to make sure that I'm getting as much information as I want or look for as you are. You know what I mean? Like, we're in this conversation to gain something, whether it's laughter, whether it's new information, whether it's past information, catching up. We're here for something, so why cut it? That's just, again, and that's just me. I don't know if you feel differently. Let me know if you do. I really want to hear your perspective. I really want to know so many things. Like I said, if you travel the world and speak in a sarcastic tone, do they accept you? I really want to know that too. Because I'm like, where do we go from here? After, like I said, after, you let me know that it's a sarcastic tone and that you're joking and all that. Okay, so what? should we dive into your joke and go from there? Or should I stick to, my interesting story? Or should I continue to ask you about your life and where you come from, or whatever we were talking about? Again, I feel like when you speak in a sarcastic tone, it pulls away from the conversation, so therefore we don't necessarily get as much out of it. So I'm just always asking, like, where do we go from here? Where would you like to go? Where would you like to just stay in the small talk and the kind rhetoric and the banter back and forth? And is that flirtation? Oh, that's a good question. Is sarcasm flirting? When I'm being sarcastic, does that come off as being flirtatious? Do I feel like when I'm being sarcastic, I am really trying to impress you? I'm not really trying to get the joke off because of the joke. I'm trying to get the joke off because I'm trying to entice and let you know that I'm witty, let you know that I'm charming. Is sarcasm a form of charm? My mind is blown right now. There's so many questions that are coming up. Is sarcasm a form of charm? Is sarcasm something that we use to let people know that we're not dumb? To let people know that we can think of many different ways to see a different point? And instead of using, I guess, a straightforward, stern approach, sarcasm is a more laid back, ha ha, he, funny, silly approach. So you don't take me that serious. You don't think that I'm uptight. You don't think that I'm a stiff shirt. You don't think that I just take life by the hand and ride this thing and make sure I have control over it all. But instead I use sarcasm to let you know, hey, it really ain't no thing. I use sarcasm to be like, yo, I mean, it is what it is. Like, yeah, I'm in a job interview, but I use sarcasm here so they know that, hey, I'm cool. I use sarcasm to let you know, like, hey, it ain't nothing but a thing. Hey, no matter where you go, I'm with you. We don't have to stay in this subject. We don't have to stay in this lane. We don't have to continue on this path. Life is about adventure. So let me use my sarcastic tone and take us on a left lane, take us on a right lane, take us where we didn't think we were going to go. Does sarcasm provide all of that value? Am I missing it? One thing that I know, or I won't say that, one thing that I've noticed, sarcasm doesn't go across on social media platforms well. Like, unless you're in a long form avenue platform like this, I'm in a podcast episode, and individuals can capture your context and where you started with your sarcasm and where it ended. But if you're doing a 60-minute short, or not 60 minutes, 60-second short, if you're doing a 60-second TikTok, I haven't seen sarcasm go over too well. Because in the comments, they're like, who is this dude think he is? Who's this guy? What is this? Who is she doing? What is she doing? Or you get a bunch of duets like, I think you were trying to say, and people trying to correct you. And maybe that's just social media. Maybe that's just individuals capitalizing off of sarcasm. So it's like, this is not the place for it. But because you put it here, let me capitalize and let me lay it straight and be the, I guess you can say, editor of what you meant. But I don't think I've seen sarcasm go too well on social media. But again, that might just be my little social media world. There are tons and tons and tons of content creators out there, and I know I haven't seen each and every one of them. So maybe there is a community out there that has maybe the memes. Sarcasm is loud through memes. I gotta do some more research. I mean, again, this is just my own little social media world, and I don't know it all. So I have to continue to look and see what I find. Because for those of you, I want to ask another question. For those of you that do use sarcasm, how do you find a sense of connection? How do you find a sense of awareness of what's going on or where you are, what to do next? Like I said, I'm always in a state of asking, where do we go from here? What do we do? And it's usually the individual asking me, or it's usually after the sarcastic tone is being expressed or done being expressed. It's like the other person is looking at me like, okay, so it's your turn, and you take this where you want it to be. Because they say what they say, and it's like, but anyways, what do you think? What do you think about the book? What do you think about the movie? What do you think about Fast 10? What do you think about Little Mermaid? Like, yeah. And me, I'm looking at them like, no, go ahead, continue on with what you were saying. Continue on with your sarcastic joke. Let's see you ride this out. Let's see how far you can go. Let's see if you can, keep our attention. If it's a group, hey, you wanted to go off the rails? Go off. Go off. Let me see how far it is. Because I don't know if that individual is able to gauge the connection. So I'm curious. Again, I don't know. I'm curious. Individuals that speak fluent sarcasm, can you gauge the awareness or the connection between your audience and what you say? Or do you enjoy the disruption? Just my perspective. Do you enjoy the disruption that sarcasm causes? It's like the shock factor. It's like the wow factor. Like, oh, I didn't know you were gonna say that. And it's like, yeah, I got you. That's all I had. Do you enjoy the shock factor? Do you enjoy being on a cliff? Do you enjoy taking us to that cliff? And then it's like, that's all I had. Let's see if you can fly from here. Let's see if you can pick up the pieces from the conversation. Let's see if we can get back to our original point. Bam. Or do you just do it because you may not have the words to say? You may be nervous. You may feel like you are dealing or being triggered by an insecurity. And again, I'm not labeling anybody. I'm truly curious. You that speak fluent sarcasm, do you feel like I have to be this way because I don't want the conversation to turn where I can't contribute, I can't add value, I can't have a voice? So I have to inject sarcasm so I can feel like I'm contributing to the conversation. I can feel like people shouldn't forget about me. I can make sure that people understand that I'm here, because now I'm always going to be the tag guy. I'm always going to be in individuals' minds when they think of something or when they say something and it's funny, and they're going to look at me to see if I got something else so that we can tag off of it, and then it'll be playful. Do you feel like you have to stay in that lane? Do you feel like sarcasm is something that you lean on, something that is important because it helps you push a conversation, it helps you stay relevant, and helps you stay consistent, it helps you gain individuals to know your name because they know that you always have something to contribute, even though it's sarcasm, even though it may not be something concrete, but it's something that lifts the room. It's like, oh man, thank God Jeff is here, because this is going to be a tough conversation in this team meeting. And Jeff is always going to be here to lighten the mood. Jeff is always going to be here to say something awkward. Jeff is always going to be here to break the tension. And Jeff is like, I have to be this way because I don't want to get left behind. I have to be this way because I really don't want people to really know me as a person. I have to be this way. I really want to create this persona. I really want to create this personality online, and it goes over well online, even though I'm a totally different person when the camera's off. Like when I'm sarcastic, the lights are on me and it's bright and I feel good and I feel like people understand me, and I feel like I speak to more people that understand me than not when I speak in sarcasm. But if I don't speak in sarcasm, I've lost them, or they lost me. Where do we go from here? Where do we go? I understand that there are so many forms of neurodivergence. There are so many avenues. There are so many ways that we can find ourselves thinking that we are or whatnot, and you may not be. I mean, when I read the definition of neurodivergence, I'm like, yeah. I mean, when I was in elementary school, this is like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. And I know, and the older I get, the more I can see it, the more I'm aware of it. Like, I'm a person, and I've said this in multiple episodes before, but I'm going to continue to say it, but I'm a person that I read for skill. I don't read for fun. I love gaining information, but I know reading is giving me the benefit, it's giving me the skill of understanding English, understanding words, understanding how to read in a proficient pace. Because when I was younger, I couldn't. I was that kid like in the fourth grade reading at a second grade level, that type of thing, right? So now, in my adult age, I just continue to read, and because I want to be able to articulate and express myself in a proficient manner. But as I get older, being neurodivergent or being someone that is dyslexic or whatever, I am aware of it more and more every day. When I'm texting, I know exactly what I'm saying when I'm texting because I'm saying it as I'm texting. And somehow, it happens all the time. Somehow, a word gets missed. It's like, I'm texting you, I want to go to the store. And the text may say, I want a store. And you're like, you want a store? And I'm like, what? I swear, I said I want to go to the store. I swear, I typed it out and I said it as I typed it. And it just doesn't happen. But that's a part of being dyslexic. Your mind goes faster than your body. Your mind goes off a pattern. So yes, I said I want to go to the store in my mind, and then I'm typing it. But my mind said it. My hands didn't necessarily do it. So it was like my brain didn't communicate the entire sentence to text. So the more and more I get, the older I get, the more I'm so self-aware of my neurodivergence, my dyslexia disorder, or whatever, however you want to say it. And at times, again, that can make me feel left behind. And I thought as we got older, we would be more secure. I thought as I got older, all the questions, all the interesting thoughts and things that I wanted to know or wanted to figure out would go away because I would figure them out on the way to this age. I'm 33 now. And the cycle has just been, I'm continuing to ask those questions. And that's okay. That's okay. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. But I also love individuals that wear their neurodivergence on their sleeve. I love Kanye West. Absolutely love Kanye West. because he wears his neurodivergence, he wears his difference, he wears his, I guess, his circumstances on his sleeve. You can tell, when Kanye West is having a good day or a bad day. You can tell when he is feeling up and when he's feeling down. I mean, that might be the gift and the curse for his situation because he's popular. He's famous, and he has to live in a glass house. But that may be a credit to his genius because he's able to do it and create something that we all love, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, whether it's documentaries. He's able to do it. He's able to express his neurodivergence, or he's able to work and live and prosper with his neurodivergence, which gives me inspiration at the end of it. I know, he's not a fan favorite right now. He's not a popular icon. He's not an individual that, it's cool to say, like, you rep Kanye right now. But, when he was coming up, when people were calling him Kane, when people were calling him Kanai, it was a beautiful thing. Even though we didn't know that he had mental issues or mental health issues, or he was neurodivergent, it was just like, yo, this guy Kanye West is making beautiful music. And then you hear about his processes, you hear about his work ethic, and now you hear about his mental health issues, and you're like, oh, it makes perfect sense. So in turn, an individual like me, I'm inspired by that because, again, individuals express like, yo, your podcast, amazing stuff. Your podcast speaks about, your videos are out of this world. Like, I love the way you think. I love the way you ask questions. I love the way you process things and you say things that I may be thinking, and I'm able to feel connected, or I feel like I'm not alone. And that's cool. That is. But again, I'm doing this with the feeling of maybe the world is leaving me behind. Maybe I am saying things that people don't care about, and people don't struggle with, or people don't battle with, or people don't think about, or people don't consider. But I do it anyway. Because why not? Why not? Because what if, again, with Kanye's success, when we're looking at it like, yo, Kanye, College Dropout, classic album. Late Registration, classic album. The Graduation, classic album. Like, he can't do no wrong. And then he drops 808, 808 and Heartbreaks, classic album, out of this world. And then he drops Jesus, and it's like, wait, what happened? And then he's going more public, being more public, speaking more. And, as you get in front of people more, you start talking more. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're able to, you allow people to see you even if you don't speak. If people are able to see you more, you say a lot more even without words. Like, you ever seen an attractive person? Like an attractive person. And I say this all the time for the NBA. No diss to basketball players or nothing. But NBA players or just an attractive person, you're like, yo, that person's fine. Like, they look really good. It's amazing to see a beautiful human being like that. And then they start speaking, and you're like, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Your face, the way you look, the way I thought you would sound, and the way you talk is not the way that they don't match. The way you look and the way you talk don't match. How is that? Because you open your mouth. You would be all fine. I would be all fine and dandy if I didn't open my mouth. I would be all, I would be accepted here and there. I would be accepted everywhere I went because I would just fit in and not say anything, and everything would be all good. But What value would I be getting? What value would I be getting if I can't put my request out there, if I can't ask my questions, if I can't ask the interesting thought process that I have and present it to people so that the people, the community, individuals that I find myself in these rooms with can give me information back? But that gives them an opportunity to judge me. But I want to be successful, so I have to, right? I have to speak. I have to share some piece of me. I have to be able to share some thought. I have to be able to share just a little bit, right? But in turn, I set myself up for display, and no matter what, people are going to judge me. No matter what. I mean, I just learned to accept that no matter what, no matter if you're listening to this podcast or if it's 10 years from now, or if you see one of my videos or whatever, you're going to judge me no matter what. I have these questions, or I have these thoughts, or I have these sayings, I have the things that come to mind, and I want to push record and put out there in the world on social media. And no matter what it is, people are going to judge me. What did he ask? What did he ask about your cleaning process? Why did he ask about changing a tire and what people think when they see other people changing tires? Why did he ask your thoughts on when you see people getting pulled over by the police? Well, why did he ask your shopping process? Do you grab things and buy them outright and then try them on at home and then take those things back that didn't work and keep the things that did? Or take the whole haul and try it on in the fitting room, and that could take an hour and a half. But that's just me. And just off that little question, just off that little sound bit, just off that little moment that you stop by the elephant room and listen to a short segment of an episode, you could judge me and say, hey, it's just not my people. He just doesn't get to the point quickly. He just doesn't do the way, or he doesn't do podcasting the way I want him to, or the way that I'm used to. And that's okay. I hope somebody that is listening to this is finding this series of content creation, even with differences, helpful. Like something that I realized, I think this was a couple of weeks ago, something that I realized, the people that do the most are the people that get to say what things are. So like the Joe Rogans or the Joe Buttons or the many popular podcasts, $1 Million Worth of Game or whatever, like those individuals that are so influential in the market or in your industry, whether it's podcasting, whether it's beautician, you know what I mean? Like, who was the first one to say, yo, wigs, and please forgive me, I don't really know the exact term of the wig that I'm talking about, but the wig is like the cap. It's no longer I remember my mom having wigs, and it was like a helmet, basically. It was like a helmet, but now women wearing wigs, you don't even realize it's a wig until they take it off, because it's just that beautiful. It's just that seamless. I think it's called a seamless wig. But who was the first person to say, like, yo, we off the helmet wigs, we on this seamless stuff? I think it was the people that do it the most. It was the people that had the notoriety. It was the people that built up the following and built up the thing for people to look at them to say, now, here you go. Here's a new thing. Here's the new wave. Look at Drake. Drake been hot for 15, 20 years, 10, 15 years. He's able to tell us, yo, this is what we are. You know what I mean? Like, he just dropped the dance, what was it? A house music album, probably a year and a half before Beyonce. Beyonce drops one, and it's hot. And now I just listened to Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar's new song. It's called The Hillbillies. House music. It's the wave now. And I'm sure The Weeknd's going to come out with something. I'm sure Sam Smith's going to come out with something. You know what I mean? Demi Lovato. I don't know what Taylor Swift got up her sleeve. Ariana Grande, I know she coming. Justin Bieber, I know he's coming. Like, it's just the way people, Drake, Beyonce, the ones that have the eyes, the ones that do it the most, get to tell you what the wave is. This is what it is. And I'm just trying to be that person for somebody. I'm not trying to say that for everybody. You know what I mean? Even though I believe that this is the most amazing podcast anyone could listen to. But for me, I'm like, yo, there's a lot of conversation going on. And this subject, this perspective may not be talked about enough. This perspective, this aisle, this little slip of pie right here may not be talked about enough. So let me talk about it. Let me bring it up. Let me see if anybody resonates with this. At least it's out there. At least it's there for somebody to find. You know what I mean? And I hope that you express your perspectives too. Like that's the biggest hope, that you express your perspectives, you express your thoughts, you express your questions without the backlash of judgment, without the backlash of worry of judgment. I think, and for me, I get caught up and tied up in like, yo, they've said everything. $1 million worth of game, Charlemagne's podcast, Angela Yee's podcast, like they've said everything. They said all of what can be said. Why are we still podcasting? Why are we still doing it? Why are we still posting on a weekly basis? Why are we Keith Lee's got the food reviews down and shut and sealed. Why are we still doing food reviews? Why are people still? Because there's still things to taste. Keith Lee hasn't tasted every food item in the world. I pray and I hope that he does. I hope that he goes international and it's not just places in Vegas or places in Orlando or places in California. I hope he goes across the world to taste things. I hope he goes across the world in third world countries to taste their food and uses his influence to get us to fly to those third world countries. He could shift economic development in third world countries if you really think about it. He's doing it now for small businesses here. I can't believe, or I wouldn't be surprised if Samsung or some big corporation sponsored him to go to a third world country, or just go somewhere and he picks a third world country and that's where we at. And that's where we on, you know what I mean? And now you got people in third world countries like, oh, they're coming here by boats, they're coming here by droves. We don't even have an airport, but they're finding themselves here for this food because of one person. But there's a lot of other people doing food reviews too, because there's more stuff to try. There's things still need to be discovered. There's industries that still need to be discovered. There's innovations and inventions that still need to be created. So I hope that you do it too. I hope that you're able to pick up a camera or whatever it is, pick up your stethoscope or your doctorate degree, or whatever it is. I hope that you're able to do it too and don't feel like you can't because somebody else is doing it. That's my hope. Man, my name is Philip Conley Jr. I'm your host here in the Elephant Room. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us from the bottom to the top of my heart. I appreciate you. It was such a beautiful time. I can't wait until the next time. If this gave you any value, if this shed any light, if this made you laugh at any moment in time in your life, share this with your people. Let them contribute to the conversation too. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments. I'll check y'all later. Peace, love.